This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Skip Barber World Cup season number 2. We are at round 1 here at Donington Park Race Circuit. You can see we are at the national circuit today. One of my personal favourites. Not too keen on the full international layout. I much prefer the national layout that we've got here, which cuts out all the Melbourne Loop. Much faster circuit that way. My name is Daniel Handover, and joining me in the commentary box this evening is the wonderful, fantastic Benny Simonson. Very excited to have Benny on board with us for the actual organiser of the Skip Barber World Cup. Normally, Benny will actually be racing in this event and in this series. He will be on track throughout, but he has very kindly decided to join us in the comms box for this evening. Benny, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Looking forward to this season, and obviously what's the first round, and see what everybody brings to the table.
Well, certainly, so. Like you said, you've got this opportunity to see sort of what pace everyone's got, see where everyone is in terms of, really how people, how people fare within the race as well. Obviously, and for those of you who don't know, myself and Benny, we've known each other a few years now, and actually when I first started Absolute Sim Racing, this was one of the first, when I first started broadcasting, Benny was actually the first series I ever broadcast was back with the Skip Barber Winter Cup, and that was it was about February of last year it started. It was a few weeks ago to the year that it started, so it's nice to come back around full circle, I think.
Yeah, it's obviously started a bit of a journey, and as you say, it all started in the beginning of lockdown with a couple of ideas we were throwing around, and now we're here for a second season.
Absolutely, we are indeed. No, I'm really, really excited. Skip Barber is just such a fantastic car, and yeah, obviously with a bit of a rebrand here, the Skip Barber World Cup. Obviously, we're not in the winter anymore, and this allows for hopefully more seasons as we go throughout the series. We are just in the starting of qualifying now. For that, again, a bit of background on this series as well. This series is going to follow a series of formats. We've got 4 formats that we're going to be running throughout the season. There's 7 rounds, and they are a mixture of different event types. This particular one from round 1, we're going to be going with a lone qualifier. It's going to be around 8 minutes. People have 2 laps, of which we'll jump on board in a second. And then we've got 2 25-minute heats. Now, those 2 25-minute heats, they will be, the first race is based on qualifying. And correct me if I'm wrong, Benny, but I believe the second race is a reverse grid.
Yeah, it is a reverse grid, so we're going to swap the top 15 around, and obviously mix up the grid a little bit. You'll have the equal points for both races, but yeah, it's gonna throw some passing into that second race, and there's also be a tough battle for that 15th positions towards the end of race 1.
Indeed, it will. Absolutely. Let's go to qualifying. And we'll be able to see, we've already got the first lap times coming out on the board. One of which, again, a lot of these drivers I actually know. There's a few drivers that I don't know, but there's some names that I recognise all the way back. I said from a year or so ago. Manuel Lucetta, one of the names I do very much recognise, a very, very fast driver. When I remembered it, and I'm sure Lucetta is still very, very fast indeed. Currently leading the timing tower with a 1:17.856. Now, I mean, at the moment, these times, you've got to take these times with a pinch of salt. The tyres take a little bit of time to get up to temp, and the car generally, the second lap, actually, to be fair, obviously, Benny, you've driven this car, a hell of a lot longer than I have. From the perspective of what the car, or the perspective of the Skip Barber itself, obviously, you've done, I mean, how many laps you've done, I don't even want to begin to imagine. What's the main thing, actually, when it comes into learning about these cars? What's the main thing that you want to drive as Lucesco goes very, very sideways there?
Yeah, I mean it's obviously a very oversteer car to drive, and obviously the idea for the qualifying here is obviously, as you say, that the tire keeps coming alive as the race comes in. That tire just gets warmer and warmer, and the car just gets quicker and quicker and quicker for every lap you're doing in it. So especially in qualifying, the technique is really to get your tires warmed up, very aggressive warming up lap, and then your second lap will always be the quicker. Now the tactics you can have here is obviously, do you want to do a safe lap first and do a banker lap a quick lap the second time around, or are you going to try and go more for two safe laps? I mean, the second lap you're probably looking about 4 tenths quicker around here. But again, if you don't put a proper quick lap in and you then mess up your second lap, you could very easily find yourself quite far down the order. So yeah, bit of a tactical game of what you want to do here in qualifying, really. But it's also important to really get that tires warmed up there.
Certainly so, it is indeed. Times, pretty much everyone has, I think, near enough finished qualifying. There's a couple of laps still to go. Nick Vaughan Roberts, P6. He's still on one more lap, I believe. Actually, no, he's finished his qualifying laps. Philip Haber has managed to go pole position with a 1:17.653. So very, very close once again at the front. I definitely remember this from the last season as well. Everyone, so bear in mind, to give you an idea of how close the cars are, you can actually see if we will go to gaps in a second. And in fact, here we are now. So you can see, so the top 13 separated by just over a second. That time will come down a bit. There has been some practice, obviously. So that is also something to consider.
Yeah, it's obviously really, really close. We see here the top three just within half a tenth of each other. So obviously, being the national circuit, the gap's always going to be smaller. And as you also say, we have the top 13 within a second, and pretty much the whole field within 2 seconds. But yeah, it looks like it to be a quite interesting battle up the front here, with especially the top three all within half a tenth. Really, you have Philip Hammer, who is the German champion, if we can say it that way, won the German Skip Barber series. Obviously, Manuel Lucchezza we know from last season as well. Obviously, a very, very fast Italian driver, and then we have Adam Miles in third, who is the current British champion, if we can say that as well, rounding off that top three. So yeah, really, really interesting. Also, we have Nick Van Roberts in sixth, who is reigning Pro-Am champion, who's then obviously been moved up to the Pro class this year in sixth place as well.
And that's the other thing to note on as well. So again, for those of you watching, so what we do have here, there's three different classes. We have the Pro, the Pro-Am, and then the Am as well. Now, these are determined by the numbers that you've got on the cars as well. So over on the left-hand side, you can see the timing tower that's been set up. Now, this timing tower will stay as is in terms of the driver numbers. These will not change. What will change, however, is what we may find as well as the series goes on. We'll start to actually categorize into classes to make things a little bit easier to see. But for the moment, to determine where the numbers are, I believe, again, Brendan, correct me if I'm wrong, we have 0 to 99 is Pro. Then we've got 100 to 199 is Pro-Am. And then 200 to 299 is Am, I believe.
Yeah, so that's correct. Yeah, so as you say, 0 to, so everybody with two numbers on is the Pro class from 100 to 199 Pro-Am, and 200 to 299 is all Am class. So yeah, we can obviously see in ninth place we had our Pro-Am pole, if we can say, and then we also have Anas in 15th, I think, here, which will be our Am pole. So that's a way of obviously looking into who's in what class. I do think, unfortunately, I personally have made a little mistake and forgot to put Chas Webber and Forsten Seafried in the Pro-Am class. They do on the screen here look like they're in the Pro class by a little bit mistake from my side. So I apologize, but they are actually racing in the Pro-Am class, and we will get that changed for the second round.
Perfect stuff indeed. We will absolutely teething issues, but we will get them. Here is your grid, though, for round number one of race number one out of race two. Philip Haber takes pole position with Manuel Lucchetta in second. Adam Miles, P3. Sebastian Sols in fourth. Giuseppe Tolini, P5. Nick Van Roberts takes P6. Kevin Budgeon in seventh. Loris Amadio in eighth. Ivan Fabro in ninth. Roger Hooker in P10. Joshua Dancy in 11th. Daniel Fortierini in P12. And then we'll move further down the field. Nice and sharp, actually, because I'm not going to be too far away from the grid. Christian Miles, 13th. That is Ephraim Pizzati in 14th. Anders Nielsen in 15th, Orson Seifert 16th, Nicola Tessato 17th, Chaz Weber 18th, Andrea Luciano in 19th, and Filippo Bernardi in P20. Obviously, we do have Benny yourself in P21. Obviously, you're not actually starting this particular race. Interesting stuff. Not too long. A couple more drivers left to go on the grid, and then we will be away for race number 1 here. I'm very excited to get this race back underway. I tell you that. Lights are on. About ready to come off and the circuit as we go. Not too long. Lights come on. And away we go for round number 1 here and race number 1. A pretty even start. We got a couple people, looks like Adam Miles, diving straight to the inside almost immediately, trying to make sure he gets the cut and tries to get the best run going through into turn 1. A little bit of battling behind here. Vaughan Roberts has just lost a position, I believe, to Kevin Budgeon. He has. So he's already lost a position. A couple people go a little bit wide. Managed to keep it all in check, though. Now single file, apart from, that seems to have thought. No, it is. It's Giuseppe Tellini versus Kevin Budgeon. Down craner curbs for the first time. Managed to all go through nice and clean. There's a bit of dust already been kicked up there that we can see. Everyone now, again, slotting into single file. It's very much, and you'll notice this the more as the season progresses, you'll see the slipstream really kicking into effect here. Still, that is that Kevin Budgeon versus Giuseppe Tellini. Tellini did actually manage to maintain that position. We should bear in mind. Philip Howard, there's that Lucetta. I think Lucetta had a massive moment there. Very well kept, though, indeed, as they all now go through down into the final section, final sector for the first time. Nick Vaughan Roberts getting a little bit wide on his line. Lots of different lines that you can take. Go through, forgive me, corner names do elude me at Donington. No, the first couple, but then they sort of elude me a little bit. This is Kevin Budgeon up the inside, down into the hairpin. Bit of a lock-up, though. That's going to cost him 2, 3, even 4 positions, depending on the run. He blocks off Giuseppe Tellini. I don't think Tellini really had anywhere to go. And now it's just, unfortunately, momentum conservation is key here. It's absolutely crucial. And if you lose a bit of momentum, that's very, very tricky. All now diving in, 3 wide going into turn 1 for lap number 2, and it's Nick Vaughan Roberts that comes ahead. So starting the 6th, he's made up 1 position after all that. You think he would have made a little bit more, but that's just the way he started and where he's gone. It has, however, unfortunately led to a massive gap between currently Nick Vaughan Roberts and Sebastian Scholes, who's 1.9 seconds up the road already. It's a pretty sizable gap. We'll have to see how that gap, whether it goes up or goes down. There's not necessarily battling go ahead at the moment. It's more so, calm before the storm, as they say. So it'll be interesting to see how that continues. But you can see the intervals now coming up on your screen. But that was a first. That was definitely an interesting couple of laps, Benny.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously the big talking point here was really Kevin Budgeon going up the inside into the last chicane and running a little bit wide. Didn't get the move to really stick, making the apex and really costing the run on the way out, which basically split the pack up. And obviously with this car being such a draft-heavy car, I think the 4 guys now will be very clever enough to probably not try and fight each other too hard for the next 12, 13 laps and just break away those 4, and there'll probably be a bit of scrapping, for that 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th position now, knowing they might have lost that toe, or it could go completely the other way. They're going to try and work together to catch up the field, but you have 4 very, very fast drivers up the front who it's just going to be incredibly hard to catch unless they really start fighting. So yeah, that's obviously one of the tricky moves with this car here, is that you don't really want to lose the draft in the beginning, but the car, especially in those first couple laps, is incredibly loose, very hard to drive, very easy to slide around, and that's where the gap is, it's easy to get a gap because it's easy to make a mistake, if we can say so. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see now the next couple of laps who how especially in this second pack, how the racing's going to develop. Are they going to work together, or are they going to keep scrapping?
Apologies, everyone. I've seemed to be having there was some mic issues there, but I feel we are back now. Apologies. Yes, a little bit of action that we go through that we had through there, going on the last couple of corners. But again, I was noticing this actually. You have there's a little bit of movement. There's a couple of overtakes, and then everyone settles back down into that rhythm. They come back down. They try and then slot back into single file, get a bit of slipstream, get a bit of run, and then time the next overtake. It's very important. Timing is everything here, especially again with how much momentum you have to keep within these cars. So it's very, very important. You've got to be very, very conscious of that and how you're adjusting and how you're actually able to go through these cars, you know, and how you're able to work that to your advantage. Giuseppe Tellini tries to defend from Kevin Budgeon, and I believe he does do indeed for the moment, although this could very well be a calm before the storm. I'm looking, there's a big battle going to be coming along here, because you think this is Giuseppe Tellini, Kevin Budgeon, you've got Ivan Fabro behind. You've also then got Roger Hooker. Let's not forget, he's sitting there in the background as well. So a four-way battle for P7 here. And a little bit further field. There was a bit of movement up the field, actually, I noticed.
Yeah, I think I wasn't really sure what happened in what happened with Sebastian Schultz here, and a little issue with the microphone, but it looked like he lost the gap to the lead pack and slotted in that second pack with Van Roberts and Amado. I assume he must have had
the develop go through, especially the first heat and then also the second heat. As well. I said that the second is going to be an interesting one because, again, we've got that reverse grid in. We don't normally have that. The reverse grid is certainly something to consider for the drivers, and I wonder how that's going to... Obviously, Racecraft is going to be completely different through theirs. We've got Manuel Lucetta back at the inside of Philip Hammer. So this is certainly a battle. This is actually allowing, I'm noticing there, Adam Miles has pulled a little bit of a gap. Now, this is very, very crucial here, Benny, because if these two are starting to battle, have a look at Nick Vaughan Roberts. Nick Vaughan Roberts is not a million miles off, is he? Now, this could play very well into the hands of it, and in fact, it already is. Look at that. So the battle here, I think Adam Miles, he's got a little bit of a gap now. 6/10 of a second. I don't think it was enough. I think Hammer and Lucchesa needed to have battled a little bit more for that gap really to, get in favour of Miles. I don't think the gap is quite big enough, unfortunately, just yet. So I don't think Miles is going to have it too easy for the remainder of the race. I could be wrong, though. We'll have to wait and see. A little bit further down the order as well. This is Nicola Tassato and Chaz Webber. That was Tassato going up the inside of Chaz Webber. And I believe we do have a little bit of a replay here. So as they come down, as they come going into turn one. Oh, a little bit of a cutback. The number. Oh no! In fact, no. Round the outside. No, not even that. So Tassato managed to just keep the footing on the inside, and then off he goes. Fair play indeed. And that is it. We continue with this race. 10 minutes have gone. It says 30 minutes on the timer, but we do only have 25 minutes of this particular heat. In mind.
Yeah, it's actually running to 19 laps, I think. So it's 30 minutes or 19 laps. So we're obviously going to hit the 19 laps before that. So that's if it's all set up correctly, we should have two runs of 19 laps here. But yeah, obviously very, very interesting here when we watched the first pack. That the second pack caught up I was actually quite surprised that they start battling this early and allowed that second pack to come up, because obviously if you sat in the front here of a pack of three, it's the interesting thing is if you work to get onto the last two laps. If you're on a pack three, end of the day, the worst thing you can finish is third. But if you start fighting and make that pack to 5th, 6th, 7 cars, well, you could then end up finishing 7th. So a lot of the times it's better to work together if you sit in this top pack here, and then you're guaranteed a better top position, especially over a longer championship. So that fighting was quite interesting, but it was also a great pace, especially for Nick Van Roberts. He's one of the fastest drivers out there, closing that gap up and keep chipping away to finish it up. And as you can see, they haven't let anybody get away yet. It's just a bigger fight for the lead now.
It is very, very true. Very, very true indeed. Again, we'll just have to see how this does develop through. I mean, again, this is what we enjoy. I mean, have a look at the Blimcam again. It's, the top 5 here. There's absolutely nothing. There's nothing in it currently at the moment. And there's battles, throughout the field as well. It's not simply just. It's definitely not just the field at the front as well. There's battles happening all up and down the field, which is again great because it gives us opportunities, it gives us time, and it gives us a really, really good insight, into having those battles up and down the field. I think it's fantastic. One of the battles actually, as the Blimcam changes over, is actually down here. There's another one still battling for P8. That's Budgin, Fabro, Forgiorini, Hooker, and all that. But there is another one down here. This is between Joshua Dancy, who's that car up ahead. You can then see we've got... sorry, apologies. Joshua Dancy is actually the number 152, a little bit further ahead. That's Thorsten Seifert. You've then got Ephraim Pizzati, and then you've also got Anders Nielsen. So that's another battle to keep an eye out for. I think Roger Hooker actually lost a position to... Yes, Christopher Miles actually has just overtaken Roger Hooker. So I wonder, could it be a little bit of a slow exit out of old Hairpin for Roger? That's why he lost that position. Could very well have been. But either way, certainly not ideal. Although there is time. There is time to be able to come back from it. So again, certainly not the end of the one. I think this is actually it's a very interesting, it's a crucial thing here, isn't it? Because when you're going through, when you're actually, excuse me, when you're running through and you're able to, or you lose a position, I think it's very, very important to not actually lose too much. Wow, this is kicked off. This is the battle now for P1. So you got Nick Vaughan Roberts, Sebastian Souls trying to go up the inside, but no luck there. Very, very... Nick Vaughan Roberts is going to have a good run here. If he can keep a line like that, he's got a very, very good run on his hands. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. The laps are ticking down.
This fighting up front actually allowed Luis Amado to close up as well and make the pack up to six drivers now. Obviously, we have 5 seconds down to Cellini in 7th. I don't think unless it really starts scrapping, I don't think that gap's going to come down. But yes, you say that's very, very surprised at all this fighting going on this early here. But the thing is, they will also drive to be in the right position for the last lap, and obviously first and second is the ideal position there. So if you're sitting 5th and 4th, you really need to start working your way through that little group now to get up to that first or second position for that last lap. You can't sit in 5th position with 2 laps to go because you don't have enough time to make it to the front if you want to go for that win, if we can say.
That's actually a very good point. In all honesty, it's a very, very good point because you are absolutely correct. You can't sit there and you have to try and make moves at some point. If you don't, that's when it goes, that's when it can go pretty wrong pretty quickly, because before you know it, if you overdrive the car, or you push the car too hard or whatever it may be, you will end up losing a lot more time. So, I think you're right as well that the gap between Tellini and Amadio, that's not going to come down anytime soon, but this is certainly going to continue on, I'm sure. This battle that we've got here, which is again fantastic to be able to watch, very, very excited to be able to see how this goes through, as we see Sebastian Schulz have a little bit of a move on Loris Amadio. In fact, he's going to have the run.
This is a perfect example of Luis Amadio obviously trying to work his way through this front pack now. He doesn't want to sit in 6th place. He want to start making a few passes up here through this group so he can be in that prime position for those last couple of laps. But then on the other side, nobody wants to give up their position further up. So that's when the fighting's gonna start happening. But as we saw in qualifying, there's absolutely nothing in between these guys here. They're all within 1 or 2 tenths. You're not gonna break away in especially on such a flowing track like this. I always see somebody just off there in the last corner. Don't know who that is.
That was Thomas Seifert. I think that was Thomas Seifert, and yes, it was.
Yeah, he's coming into the pits here, and he was, I think actually he was our 2nd place Pro-Am car at this point here. So obviously a podium coming out of his hands. Just see what's happening into him here. If he just comes in a little bit too quick. Yeah, he comes into the quick, and you can actually see he actually tries to do the right thing. I don't know who the car in front here was. He actually does hit him, but he did try and do the right thing and realized he went in too quick and put himself to the left, but just obviously a little bit too late, and unfortunately hit the car in front as well.
Certainly not ideal, but as you say, he tried to do the right thing as best as he could. Got hit. I mean, again, just what is going to happen here? We've got 5 more, 4. I think it's 5. Yeah, 5 more laps to go. I mean,
we can see Lucetta going in here to block the inside. He does not want to give up that lead. He knows that's the prime position to be in the last lap. Second is possible, but he's going to start defending hard now because he wants to lead that last lap, and everybody else obviously wants to make their way up through the field. So yeah.
And this is something we'll also we're going to talk about as we go through more and more. Is it's very, very important to have that. It's very important to have the actual. I was trying to the best way to put it, but yeah, it's very, very important to have track position in terms of the laps itself, because you've got to have so much. There's so much to think about in these cars. You would normally just assume that you drive as fast as you can and that's it, job done. Certainly not the case at all. It is. You've got to be driving within reason, of course. You've got to be driving very, very much to not only the cars and track's limits and everything, but you've got to time everything correctly, and it's really, really important. If you get the timing a lap out or even a couple of corners out, it can make a big, big difference. A very, very big difference. In fact, you can see again Lucetta getting out of the toe ever so slightly there. But the slipstream does have an effect here. It certainly does have an effect in this car. You can actually see, look at Nick Von Roberts. He had a prime opportunity to go for a move there. An absolutely prime opportunity. But again, he didn't. So I'd almost think there, Benny, that do you reckon Nick he's happy to set? Actually, he's going to prove me wrong. I thought he was going to be settling for P2 for a couple more laps, but he decides that he wants to take that lead.
No, he wants to lead. These top 6 guys here, some of the best 6 top skip Barber drivers out there. They all know this track. It's a very popular track. They all done loads of races here. It's a track you can win from first and second on that last lap. Obviously, further down is possible if something happens to the front, but you want to lead. That is, that's where the main position is. I say you win from the lead here. 75% of the chance of the races still possible for second, but they all want to lead this race here. But it is, as you say, it's a massive tactical game with this car here. It's not just about being quick, it's all about positioning, and that's why I thought in race 2 we were going to see the first 3 guys in the beginning of the race just sit together, work together, and then they would have fought it out. And then it wasn't the case in this race here. They made the group bigger, and now they're all trying to scrap to get themselves in position. So yeah, I always find for me, it always reminds me a little bit of like doing a cycling race, when you watch the Tour de France and they're all coming up to that last big sprint, who's going to be where, who's going to open the pack. So they're obviously scrapping around now, and it's to see where we're all going to be in 2 laps time, really. But yeah, for sure, whoever's lead now want to do everything to defend, and whoever's in third and fourth wants to do obviously come up and take that second. But the tricky thing is here, if you sit in second, yes, you can sit there and be in second and take the toe on the last lap, but when you sit in the second, you're then vulnerable for the guy in third. So where's your tactical? Some people prefer to be in second. Personally, I like to lead because you're just that little bit massive slide here from Lucetta into old hairpin. That's going to make him vulnerable up here for Adam Miles now. And as soon as you can see there, Adam wants to make his way up. He goes for it straight away. And we also have Philip Hammer here going left, right, center, just to try and find the smallest gap to get his nose in as well. And that could actually make it that Van Roberts actually can break away now, because now they start scrapping for second place. Sometimes it gives that little opportunity to break away as a leader. But he needs about 1.1 second on the gap. He's only up to 6/10. It's not going to happen. They're going to pull him back in now, and you will also see sometimes they will actually start working a little bit again now for a lap, just to pull him back in if we can see here.
As you say,
he goes. A little bit wide here from Ben Roberts, and that's gap gone straight away. If you can go onto the last lap with a lead of 6/10, it's pretty much in the bag if you make no mistake. But obviously a mistake coming onto the start finish straight here, and they're with him right away again.
It's amazing how quickly it just all changes. Like again, I remember from the season, back last year. I just remember it just being. You never knew. I mean, we've got 2 laps to go, and the finishing order could be completely different. Not like a couple of positions different, but it could be completely different to what it is now. That's what I absolutely love about these cars. Is again, there's all those tactics in not only the battling, but the positioning and the timing, and it's just all. It makes things, and you think a tiny little mistake like that in something like a GT3 car, maybe you may not have noticed as big of a difference. But in something like this, momentum is so key to keep up. I mean, it's just, like I said, this is the gap was 6-7 tenths of a second, and it's now, it's bumper to bumper. So, no, I just love the fact of how quickly it all changes. It certainly keeps us on our toes to commentate on this race. If you, like I said, two more laps to go after this, technically. Moving a little bit further down the order while we have a brief moment of respite from that lead pack changing positions. Christopher Miles, Joshua Dancy still having a bit of a battle a little bit further down this order. And in fact, we're going to go straight back into the battle because moving forward, that is Adam Miles back in the lead. Nick Roberts had another big moment. Is that going to leave Lucetta? Lucetta's up the inside. This is going to give him the run down. He's going to give him trap position into Old Hairpin, but it depends if Will Roberts can actually get the run down into... Oh, my... I don't know. Nick Roberts thinks he's in a drift competition at the moment, I
think. But they're so loose, and you can see they're kicking up more and more and more dirt through the Old Hairpin example, which obviously we know from iRacing it does affect the cars, and with these cars being so tail happy, the more dirt that comes off the track, that's going to make the car more and more slidey as well. So yeah, and you could see as soon as Van Roberts had here his little slide, Lucetta was straight away there in third. He does not want to be in third position starting this last lap, straight up to second there. So as it looks right now here, to me it looks like it's got to be a fight between Miles, Lucetta, and Roberts with 1 lap to go. Unless something happens, Amado, Hammer, and Schultz simply just not in that prime position. Lucetta wants to lead that last lap here. Miles actually let him go quite easily, so I expect that Miles wants to be in second place actually rather. As I said, it's a very mixture of what people prefer, of what position. We see the white flag coming out here, and now the real scrap's gonna really start happening out here. Now you see Miles blocking off for Van Roberts, who actually goes in. They go 3 wide in. Lucetta just keeping that little bit of a gap here. He's going to get a little bit of a run on the way out, but it's Miles to the lead here now, and Hammer starts getting involved as well, coming down through Craner curves here. A little bit of a wide line from Lucetta here. A little bit surprised he left the door that much open through turn 1 into Old Hairpin here now. We actually got Miles up the front. Lucetta tucks in behind. He's going to try and now get the run on the back straight, I assume. But yeah, interesting for the last few corners here now.
It certainly is going to be. Last couple of corners, half a lap left to go for heat number 1. And it's going to be Lucetta up the inside of Adam Miles. Again, Miles, while he was defending. Oh, he got a bit pushed off a little bit. He keeps his foot in.
He went wide a little bit. Yeah, he went wide a little bit.
Round the outside now, he does go. Tries to keep the momentum up. Nick Von Roberts is now going to be on the inside. And I tell you what, Miles may lose out here because he hasn't got any toe at all. Actually, I'll tell you what, this might be a battle for P2. Is Nick Roberts going to try up the inside? It's going to be 3 wide going into the hip and back into the final chicane. Oh my goodness, who is it going to be? Lucetta tries to outbrake Nick Roberts. Is that going to be too wide though? No, it's not. Von Roberts gets shut out wide. So Lucetta takes the race 1 victory. And that is going to be Adam Miles P2. Nick Roberts P3. How close?
Miles lifted too early there. He nearly lifted too early and gave second to Van Roberts. But yeah, what an amazing finish. That's why these cars are so fun to drive. Literally, couldn't call it onto that last corner there. 3 wide into the last corner. Absolutely fantastic racing. And they all made it through here. So everybody obviously thinking of the longer run of the championship as well. So yeah, well done to Manuel Lucetta for a victory here. Great racing.
That was indeed very, very good racing. Absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed it. Looking forward to, obviously, like I said, we've got another. We're going to be treated to another heat as well after this, which is going to be great. We are going to have we're going to bring up the grid for you in a few moments once everyone crosses the finishing line. Then we're going to have a quick break, or we have a bit of a warm up for the second heat. Remember, that is that reverse grid, so do keep that in mind. And then we'll come back after a short break, and then we'll go and give you the grid for heat number 2. A couple more drivers left to go, and then we will bring up the heats for you. But wow, that was absolutely fantastic. And in fact, no, apologies. I believe, no, we are going to be able to bring you the results now. While we have that little bit of a warm-up, here are the overall heat 1 finish results. So Manuel Lucetta, by just over, or just under 2 tenths of a second, takes P1 victory. Then Adam Miles in second. Nick Von Roberts takes P3. Loris Amadio in fourth. Sebastian Solz P5. Felix Hammer 6th. Giuseppe Tellini in P7. Kevin Bunyan takes P8 with Ivan Fabro in 9th. That is, excuse me, Danielle Forgiarini in 10th. Christopher Miles 11th. Joshua Dancy P12. Ephraim Pizzati in P13, and Anders Nielsen in 14th, Roger Hooker in P15, Chaz Weber takes 16th, Nicola Sasato is 17th, that is Filippo Bernardi takes P18, 29 seconds down. We have Andrea Luciano with an unfortunate incident going into the final chicane in P19, and then Thorsten Seifert in 20th, and obviously Benny didn't start the race in P21, but that is your first result here for heat number 1. We're coming up. We've got another heat race, so stick around. We're going to be back after a short break with an advert from iRacing. Don't go anywhere.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, for heat number 2 in a few moments' time. If you have just joined us, welcome. You've missed a fantastic heat 1, but luckily you're going to be treated to another race. My name is Daniel Handover. Joining me in the commentary box for today is the expert that we have on hand and the series organizer for the Skip Barber World Cup, Benny Simpson. Now, Benny, what I would like to do actually is just talk. Well, we've got another few moments with this car, with this warm-up. Again, you've driven the Skip Barber a lot. You mentioned actually just in the last thing about how loose these cars are. Now, a lot of the time, you see people when they're just getting into this car. How do you normally get the most out of it? Is it simply sliding the car? Not obviously too much, but they're certainly keeping the rear out just that little bit beyond the limit. Tends to be what I see the very, very fast guys do, as we've seen in this race for heat number 1.
No, you don't really want to get the car to slide. It is actually trying not to slide the car, but what you see the really, really good guys is they will actually, because it is a quite simple car. It understeers on the way in, it oversteers on the way out. So what you want to try and do is you want to set the car up on the brakes, so you actually turn the car on the brakes, and it's then from there it should be more point and go with no oversteers. So it's really to start learning to use the brake. To rotate the car is the big tip on this car here. So we get the grid up here, and obviously it's Roger Hooker on pole position with the reverse grid. Anders Nielsen winner from the first race and second, and then grid coming down here. But it'd be interesting to see Roger Hooker here. Obviously, my prediction is he might actually be able to run away with this from pole position. He's a very, very fast driver. He must have had a little bit of an unlucky first race. So be interesting to see if he can break away here straight away.
Well, not too long, and then we'll find out less than a minute to go. For the remainder of your grid, though, we have Pizzati P3, Joshua Dancy in 4th, Christopher Miles P5, Daniel Forzarini in 6th, Ivan Fabro 7th, Kevin Budgeon P8, Giuseppe Tellini takes 9th, Philip Hammer in 10th, Sebastian Schulz takes P11. Then we have Luis Amadio in 12th. And I think we're actually just about to go underway. And yes, we do. The race is gone. Apologies. So Roger Hooker gets what seems to be a pretty decent start. So does Nielsen. And if anyone actually gets a pretty even start, all in all going down, there's going to be a little bit. Actually, I think we're going to be going into single file relatively quickly. There's a couple of side-by-side moments going on, but nothing major that I can see at the moment, although we've got a little bit there. That's between Pizzati and Dancy. They're going to go down side by side into Old Hairpin this time around. Manages to go, and that's actually Joshua Dancy that managed to run away from that. We had there's a little bit of a moment there from Pizzati, and he's since dropped back. Pizzati now is under fire from Christopher Miles pretty much straight away. Forgerini in there as well. Let's not forget him. It's all pretty close up. This, obviously, in the start of the race, it's very, very close. Indeed, as everyone tries to find their feet and slots back into the... Whoa, big moment there. That's a massive moment. Who was that? I can't even see who that was. Was that Kevin Budgeon?
That was Kevin Budgeon, yeah. Kevin Budgeon, and I don't see who the contact was, but I actually didn't catch the beginning of it. I just saw the end of it. But yeah, unlucky first lap here. Obviously, it looks like he's going to have to go into the pit and take a fast repair. It looks damaged, that car. But yeah, hopefully we can get a replay that in a second. But good start from Roger Hooker here, up in the lead. Dancy up to second, but then great job by Anders Nielsen here to keep third still. So, oh yeah, it's still hard to see for me here what actually happens. Does he get tapped from the rear? Is it a bit of contact on the way in?
Almost just like
Not
goes in a
sure.
little bit too. Let's have a quick. Oh, I can't actually. I think he almost outbrakes himself.
Yeah, it looks like he's outbrakes himself. Decides to go up the inside instead of hitting the guy in the rear, and end up having to touch him side by side, which is probably the better way to make the contact. But yeah, unlucky for Kevin here.
Absolutely, yeah, certainly unlucky there, but especially the start of the race, first lap. It's certainly never ideal, but at the same time, it's one of those things. Reset.
Yeah,
move on,
it
got a
does.
couple weeks.
It does happen, contact, and it's pretty much the first contact we really see in so far in the race, the two races here. So it's been very clean so far. But going back to the race here, great start by Philip Hammer, up to 6th place already. He's really made that opening lap work for him. He started. Was it 12th or 11th? Obviously up 5-6 positions here already. So yeah,
true.
good job. And his goal is surely all a great aggressive move here for car 11, Van Roberts as well. He wants to stay with Hammer because obviously Hammer wants to get to the front from one of the guys that finished up the front before, and then try and get a breakaway from them straight away and get some good championship points. But Van Roberts really sticks with him here. We see Lucetta comparing here, struggled a little bit more with making some moves on the first lap and a couple of positions behind here. Somebody gets run a bit. Oh, there's a little bit of a.
I think it was Adam Miles.
Is that Adam Miles?
I think that might have been Adam Miles actually. Yeah, it was. Adam Miles had a massive moment.
Lucetta as well, I think it is.
Yeah, Lucetta got involved on there. Giuseppe Tellini got involved as well. Went a little bit off. That was a big. I mean, that's really because Adam Miles is now all the way down in P17, and he's got a massive gap now. So he's going to have a hard pressed time to get through that pack now. I know there's still a fair way to go. Obviously, we're only 16 laps still to go yet, but even so, that's a long old. That's a bit of a tricky position to come from. Again, just unfortunate it had to be so early on in the race. Sebastian Scholes, Luis Armadio, and that is going to be Armadio takes that position there. Joshua Dancy has had a moment.
Great move by Armadio there. Really nice move.
Very good. Very clean as well. It's very decisive, very clean. Exactly what you want. At the front, though, have a look at this. Roger Hooker's decided that he wants to check out at this point, and why not? Because you've got Forgerini, Nielsen, and then Hammer all battling for P2. And this is actually a battle. You've probably got 6 cars all the way in the battle for P2 here. That's Forgerini. That's still a little bit close. That's Hammer and Nielsen that were going side by side for a brief moment, but Hammer slots into P4. Nielsen's just dropping positions back down the order. He just can't get back on the racing line. He got loads of positions cost.
Yeah, the problem is you get, especially down through craner curves, you get put offline. The whole train wants to come through, and it's very hard to get back in. But he's running inside the top 10 here still. He's actually hung on quite well. But realistic, in his position, he is the leader of the M class. Just focus on that. Get that win in again here, and get that double win of the M class to kick off the season with. So that would be what I would do from his position here, and obviously try and hang on to that lead pack as well. But just as I suggested, Roger Hook up to 1 second here gap. It's about to break the toe is 1.1, so it'd be interesting to see if he can break away. It's Philip Hammer, who German driver here, the defending German champion in second now. He's made that way up through the field very quickly, and he's going to be chasing him down with everything he got now here. Daniel Foccarini in third, a big streamer on Twitch, you can find him. A big Skip Barber streamer, you can go and find him here. Very interesting to watch as well. Up in third, and he's going to try and hang on and chase down. Obviously, Roger Hook a little bit sideways here. Maybe a bit of pressure gets to him, and that's going to close the gap a little bit here for them.
Well, indeed, as you say, it certainly will do. But what's happened to Roger Hooker? Because Roger Hooker has had a moment. He has had a moment somewhere. Now he's dropped. Look at that. He's dropped down into P2. Unfortunately, that's certainly not what you wanted. So Philip Hammer now inherits the lead for the first time this race. having been now 5 laps in. A bit further look at that, you've got Joshua Dancy, Giuseppe Tellini, still battling side by side. And I think Tellini's going to have the run. No, because Joshua Dancy wants to have the run back. He's got a better run. We lost the late breakers. Who is it going to be? I think it may very well be. It is Tellini. Tellini manages to stay ahead. Although now, this is again, he's now got an issue because he's got to be conscious of Nick Van Roberts. And there we go. Nick Vaughan Roberts now decides that he wants to have a piece of the action as well. So he's up 7 positions. One of the biggest movers, actually, apart from Thorsten Seifer, who's made up 9 positions, as well as Philip Havit's also made up 9 positions. So Nick Vaughan Roberts is the second highest position gain at this current race. May very well be 8 positions. And in fact, it is going to be. He gets up the inside of Giuseppe Tellini, down Craner curves. And he manages to get through down into Old Heaven. But he's got a little bit wide. That will cost him a fair amount. Oh my goodness. Again, decides to go a bit of rally crossing. That will cost him. Although Giuseppe Tellini did the same thing. Joshua Dancy actually had a much better run. Unfortunately, he couldn't really do all that much in all honesty. So Vaughan Roberts manages to keep in that P5 position. He has, though, dropped the toe up ahead. Because Christopher Miles, that gap is 1.3 seconds now. And unfortunately, that's going to leave him potentially a bit of not a sitting duck as such, but he's not going to be gaining the, you can actually see he's trying to break the toe there. He's not going to be gaining as much, and he's actually, I wonder if he got a slowdown.
He's got to slow down. Yeah, he's got to slow down. He's got to slow down. That puts him back at that train there. Just cut the track a little bit too much, but yeah, that big first moment he had there in Craner curves really did cost the toe to the top 4, and then you got Philip Hammer now in the lead, towing those top 4 guys around. You know, one of the absolute fastest drivers you have in the whole Skip Barber car here, Philip Hammer up the lead. He's going to be very, very hard to catch. Those other 3 guys in that top 4, they're just going to try and hang on now and see if they stick with Hammer and book themselves a top 4 position, really.
Indeed, they will. You know, we've got 7 laps, nearly halfway through this race. Now, as we see again, who was that? I think it was Loris Armadio that had a big moment. I think it was, yes. Joshua Dancy, I wonder if he's got to slow down as well. He seemed to drop off like that. He just had a pretty slow old hairpin exit. I think that's the case. So again, just everyone driving the car absolutely on the limit, and also a little bit past the limit as well, as you can notice there. But again, all in all, everyone managing to just about keep everything in check. Giuseppe Tellini, though, having to defend once again from Nick Vaughan Roberts. Not really defending all that much at the moment, but he got a slightly slower exit, though. I think Tellini, Vaughan Roberts got a much better exit going down into. He's going to go down to turn 1 on the upper hand. You've also got this, and this is Roger Hooker fighting off Daniele Forgerini. Manages to keep it. Yes, he does.
Might allow Hammer to get away here now. Is the gap big enough?
8/10 per second. Getting there.
Yeah, that little podcast where Philip is super quick. He's going to really push hard now. Seeing that gap goes to 8/10, he's going to try and do everything to break that last 2/10 here now. So really head down for Roger here to try and stay with him. And it's also interesting to see if Tellini and Roberts gonna scrapping, or are they gonna try and catch these guys in front by working together.
In this situation, Benny, what would you do here? Would you work together at this point if you were in Roger or Forgerini's position?
Of course, you want to try and work together. In my position, if you can catch the leader, if you have the pace, try and Philip's going to be extremely hard to catch. Top 3 in the world in this car, probably.
Wow.
He's going to be very hard, especially for those 2, even if working together. But the thing is, you might want to work together. Does the guy you in the pack with want to work together? That's the other thing.
Yeah.
It's you both going to be in the same position. So, but yeah, for sure. I mean, with still 10 laps to go, I would try and see if I could start working together. But as I said, you need the whole pack to be onto it.
I'd say the whole pack needs to be on the same page. Unfortunately, like the gap from Hammer and Hook, it did actually jump up to 1.2 seconds there. It's since dropped back down to just over a second. So that the gap is ever flowing.
Yeah, you'll find it'll keep moving, obviously, because obviously with the 2 cars in the pack together, when they on the straights, the gap's going to go down. But then I don't think I'm going to insult neither Daniel or Roger here. But with Philip probably being the slightly quicker driver, he's going to gain a little bit through Craner curves, through the corners, and then he's going to lose it again back on the straight. So that's how that gap's going to play until that can get to about 1.5 seconds, and then it can go from there. But you can see it. It is really if they would start going side by side, that's when they're going to start losing the time.
As you say, that's when the majority of the time is lost. I wonder, are we going to see? We've actually got a little bit more battling going on here. That was Amadio has passed Joshua Dancy down 4P8. That is so. Amadio now has made up 4 positions. Joshua Dancy has lost 5, unfortunately. Started in P4, currently now running in P9. This is something that another question again for Benny, being again very experienced within this car. Bump drafting, is that a thing you tend to do? Do you hook onto the back of one another and try and push each other along, or is that something you don't tend to do?
No, it tends to from both sides break the rear wing and the front wing. So you want to get close, but you don't want to touch each other. It seems to be it's normally a big no in this car here because they are quite fragile, not like a NASCAR. So it is more trying. You can see here a couple of the guys here. You can see they got wing damage probably just from touching the curb a little bit, and it unfortunately affects the car quite a lot with wing damage. You can be couple of tenths to up to nearly 2 seconds slower lap with wing damage. So massive slide here in the background from one of the Italian guys. Their skins are quite similar here. I can't see who it is, but well caught though.
It was that was Felipe Bernardi that had a moment there, I believe. Manages to keep it all in check. That's another big one.
Another one. That's Nicola here. I think actually it's the battle for second, third in the M class. So getting a bit. Oh, another one here. And who's that? Is that Torsten? Who's just gonna miss that? It looks like a bit of a drift competition on this lap here.
It is, unfortunately. Tasato just got a little bit too much angle. And that has cost him. It was someone else that's gone off there. I couldn't see who that was, but someone definitely ran wide. I wonder if could that possibly have been, that was Bernardi that ran wide down into the final chicane there. So 8 laps to go, and it's already kicking off down the tail end of the field this time. So again, we're certainly not short of action up and down the field, which is fantastic to see. Moving further up the field actually as well, this is the battle for P5s. You've got Giuseppe Tellini leading this battle here, leading this little train. And then as you go down, you then have Nick Vaughan Roberts that you can see there. You've then got Sebastian Schultz and then Loris Armadio. We see a couple of different lines that you can take through that. I always try to take a slightly wider line, a slightly narrower line through that. I just feel it gives me a little bit of a better run. And I think Tellini needed to go a little bit wide there. That would have cost him. And he's lost 1 position, possibly even 2.
Yeah, Ren Roberts lined it up perfectly here, and Sebastian Schultz straight over, wants to get in there, but actually chose the wrong side, and it's that Amado there allows to get up the inside instead here and actually takes the position away, and that could potentially allow Ren Roberts to get away from this little pack now here, seeing the gap up to 8 tenths. There's actually contact here between the 48 car and Schultz. There's Tellini and Schultz, I think, that came together here. Unfortunately, I think Sebastian obviously came off worse on. Hopefully we can get a little replay on that up here in a split second.
In fact, here we go. What happened? A little bit too late on the brakes?
Yeah, I didn't actually catch the beginning of this one here. It's you just see Tellini slightly moving, but also Sebastian coming with a slight late move. Tricky one to call here, really. Tellini moving on the braking, but quite a late dive from Sebastian, from what I can see. That'll be one for the steward room. Glad I'm not going to judge on that one.
I certainly don't. I don't blame you through there. It's that's actually something to actually say. It's what stewards are for. It's unfortunately a thankless job a lot of the time, because regardless of what happens, regardless of the outcome, you always tend to upset somebody. I've been both sides of stewards, and it's certainly not a it can be a pretty intense role to play, but arguably one of the most important. Be fair,
I mean that's what makes league racing a lot of fun. A lot more fun, because you will have stewards and stupid moves or dive bombs and blocking and all these actually get punished compared to the normal official iRacing system, who sometimes can end up in a bit of a sad last lap where there's no punishment involved. So that's the good thing about the league racing here. We have a couple of race stewards who look through any protest after the race, and there's a protest form for the guys they can fill out if they're a bit unhappy, and get the stewards to look on it after, and obviously that's going to affect the championship points. They can get deducted, or they can get a pit lane started after how bad behavior the driving off here. We have the move coming on here. It's he makes it stick quite early and backs out of it here. Yeah.
I don't think Forgerini really. That was Roger Hutcher making the move up to Daniel Forgerini. I don't really think Forgerini didn't defend it all that much. Again, I blame him because, again, simple the reason is he gets the better run going through, and that allows him to potentially make the move back. Roger Hooker, though, deciding that he doesn't want to give it up that easily, the number 10. But Forgerini may have to take it again in another lap.
Two quite experienced guys with this car here. I think they're both don't go side by side in the corner. If somebody has to overlap on you already, you're going to lose it anyway down the chicane. Let go of the power a bit earlier, tuck in behind. You both get a good exit out. You lost the minimal time. It's when you start going side by side through that chicane, you're going to lose the time. So clever driving here from both drivers, really.
As again, as you say, getting that timing right, just allowing moves to happen. I think it's a misconception, isn't it? It's depending on the area of the race, obviously, but obviously, Benny, you're experienced in the sim world and the real world as well. When it comes to racecraft, I think a lot of people, especially people starting out, and other people that I've coached, and they are, and I used to be. To be fair, I'm not saying everyone. I used to be the same as well. It's a common misconception that potentially someone actually overtaking you. It's not necessarily something that you have to defend every single position to be gained. You don't have to defend every single overtake that comes your way, because there are certain times, especially as we can see here again, where it's not necessarily a benefit to being overtaken, but you don't necessarily lose anything by being overtaken in some scenarios, do you?
No, it's especially in this situation here, side by side into the chicane. If he's got an overlap on you, you're always going to lose that position. By going side by side through the chicane, you're only going to make the overall time to the guys behind you, the loss, even bigger. So back out of the throttle, tuck in behind. You both lost a few tenths compared to a second or two, and obviously that's going to give you that bit more buffer time towards the end. And both drivers are quite experienced here. They obviously want to try and keep on to second and third, and not fighting too much. As I said, that they do go side by side. But you can actually see here he backs out of it a little bit here. Actually, that actually allowed Nick Van Roberts to come up and join this little fight here. But yeah, as you say, you don't need to scrap for every position. It's sort of a 50-50 decision, because sometimes with this car you don't need to scrap. You can give up the position and wait more for the last lap. But then on the other side, some drivers say it's pretty boring to drive around for 18 laps of not fighting and just wait for that last lap scrap. So some people join just to battle all the time, and some people want to try and get a good position.
Yeah, so I can certainly see, I can absolutely see and understand why people want to have a bit of a battle, because again, sometimes you have to be so overly cautious in an official race, and it's always something that you do have to be conscious of, and trying to make some. You want to have a good time at the end of the day. That's part and parcel of it. A little bit further down the order, we've got a lot of moves happening here. Adam Miles has made up another position after that early instant that he had. He is now back up the order, starting making some moves.
Both Adam Miles and Manuel Luqueta is, inside the top 15. Luqueta is 11th, Miles in 15. But both of them actually, I don't know if you caught that earlier, but both of them actually pitted to get a fast repair and lost even more time after that incident. So both obviously had that extra pit stop to come in, which cost them a bit more time here. Miles up to 14th now. So yeah, very impressive that they made it into top 15. Can they make it into the top 10? It's going to be very, very hard for them here. Anders Nielsen in 10th place, got a 7-second gap. He's actually the leader of the M class. Great result for him here. He's a little bit by himself, 4 seconds up to ninth. So yeah, for him it's really just hang on to that 10th place and just keep chipping away. And we also have a great scrap here between the two guys in 6th and 7th. It's actually the battle for the Pro-Am win between Christopher Miles and Dancy here. So that could be an interesting one to watch as well on these last few laps.
Certainly so. Very, very true indeed. I did actually see that's come up, and let's just have a quick look at a replay here. This was Nick Vaughan Roberts on Roger Hooker. So the two skips cars having a bit of a battle coming down into the final chicane, and that was actually a pretty controlled move there. Sort of. I don't think Roger Hooker again didn't defend it all that much. So that has now promoted Vaughan Roberts again. Up into P2. I mean, what a day it's been. It's not quite over yet. I don't want to say anything, but it's certainly not over. But no, very, very impressive and strong results there from Nick Vaughan Roberts twice out. Philip Hammer, the gap 6 seconds up the road. So I think, again, I don't want to say anything, but I think that gap speaks for itself. Going down the order a little bit as well. Pizzati, Miles, Webber, Budgeon. This is still a battle that you just can't take your eyes off any one of these battles for any period of time at all, because you go back and you come back 2 seconds later and it's all completely changed again. It's so close. This is a potentially battle here. I think Adam Miles, at the inside of Pizzati. Again, it was a move that wasn't really going to be defended all that much, which I think, again, was probably the best scenario for Pizzati. Actually, if anything, Pizzati made it actually be able to tuck in behind Miles and see if he can get dragged along a little bit to extend that gap so he can, so Webber doesn't try and catch all that much. And in fact, Pizzati goes, no.
Get back on him.
He decides that he doesn't want to do that, and instead he wants to have a bit of a battle. Now, obviously, it's different classes, but at the same time, like we just mentioned, people want to battle. Win. Yep. People want to battle, and why would you not? Unfortunately, that has done what I thought was going to happen. It's now actually cost Pizzati potentially some more position, because Kevin Budgeon and Chaz Webber are now very, very much on the tail, and I think Budgeon may have a bit of a look here. He might not, though. Nope, decides against it. So this battle, again, it's sort of starting to simmer. The gaps have opened up once again. As we go a little bit further up the order, though, white flag has been raised. So Philip Hammer, again, 6.5 seconds up the road now. Nearest makes no difference to 6.5 seconds. Loris Armadio and Danielle Forgerini going to go potentially for a bit of a scrap. The final little sector, a tiny bit of a lock-up there almost, but it looks on the entry for Forgerini. That would have cost him some time, and that has indeed brought that gap down to Forgerini and Armadio. So battle for P4 here. Christopher Miles is sitting there biding his time. I wonder if he's trying to wait for a move. Oh, it goes a little bit wide, though. That would have cost him a little bit of time. And yeah, he's probably going to drop about 10th now on the next straight. That could very well mean, it certainly makes all the difference again in a car like this. Momentum is so key. It's only going to be down to a potential last lunge, I think, from Armadio. That's going to give him that position. Meanwhile, up the front, though.
Look, yeah.
I've got too long there. I mean, look at the gap. He's running on his own at this point, and has been for the last 10 laps or so. One more chicane to go, and that is going to be Philip Hammer taking race victory here for race number 2. But we're going to go straight back to what's going to happen down here. I think it's going to be Armadio goes for the inside. A bit of a lock-up, and it's going to be a drag race. You know what? He's done it. Excuse me, I'm getting too excited.
Somebody's going to come up inside and get it.
Christian Miles. Is it going to be? It's not. It's Forgerini, though. Forgerini managed to get P4 still. Sorry, that has got me so excited. My voice has gone.
Just that little bit more speed coming out the chicane. He played that perfectly there. So, yeah, great result for him as well. Really great result for Daniel here. He's a top guy. So, yeah, well happy for him here. But, yeah, almost 3 wide.
Yep, so let's have a look at this. So this is what happened to Forgerini. So
Leaves you enough speed.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to Armadio. Remember as well. There's Christopher Miles on the left-hand side. That's what I thought was going to get the. I mean, that is as close as you can get. 300th of a second separate those three. That was ridiculous. I mean, fair play to Loris Armadio. He did give he didn't give any more, but he gave just enough space.
He gave just enough. That was just after how it should be. Like, he left him just enough room, but didn't run him off the track. So yeah, great racing from all 3 of them really here.
Absolutely. Very, very good stuff indeed. So here are your race. These aren't actually your race results. Apologies. Let us get your actual race results up. And in fact, here they are. So Philip Hammer takes P1. Nick Vaughan Roberts, again, another strong performance for the Two Force Racing car, the number 11, the sister Two Force Racing car, driven by Roger Hooker in P3. So a very good day all round for them in heat number 2. Danielle Forgerini in P4. Laura Samadio in 5th. Christopher Miles takes P6. With Giuseppe Tellini takes P7. Joshua Dancy P8, Sebastian Schultz in 9th. Anders Nielsen rounds out the top 10 with Manuel Lucetta in P11 after that strong performance and strong comeback after the incident early on. Adam Miles, actually another very strong performance as well. A few laps before the end, he was about 3 or 4 positions away from Lucetta and then ended up finishing only a position behind. Kevin Budgeon takes 13th with Thorsten Seifert in 14th. Efren Pizzati takes P15 with Ivan Fabro in 16th. Nicola Tessato in 17th. Chaz Webber takes P18 for heat number 2. Filipino Bernardi takes P19. Andrea Luciano in 20th. And that is your full grid that started. Wow. Well, there we go. Round 1 done and dusted for us. Now, we may have, and hopefully we'll have a couple of people to be able to chat to. We'll give it a couple of moments. Benny, obviously, a fantastic first round. Again, I really missed this series, and it's great to come back to it. Obviously, we're hopefully going to see you on track as well. I know, obviously, you couldn't make this due to some scheduling conflicts, but after seeing this again, is it, again, you've driven, all these guys, you've driven with them for several months and a good couple of years in this car. You wanted this cars really well. I mean, again, I'm sure this is something you're looking forward to.
Yeah, it's it's watching the racing. I kind of wanted to join in as well, but then it's quite fun trying to be in the commentary booth as well, and having raced all the other guys, just know roughly how they race. So it's fun to watch from the other side. But hopefully take part in a few of the races later in the season. But I thought we had a great two first races to kick off with, 2 different winners to kick it all off. It's going to be interesting to see what the championship actually look up with Lucetta and Miles dropping a few points, who was right up the front in the first one, and Hammer with, was he 5th and 1st or 4th and 1st, obviously. So it could be a very, very close championship standing after here. And also, especially in the Pro-Am class, it looked like there was a bit of a mixture of position swapping around there, so it could be quite tight, yeah.
Absolutely, very, very true. Indeed. What we do have, I believe we do indeed have. Let's have a chat with. We're going to bring in Nick Vaughan Roberts. We're also going to bring in as well Roger Hooker. So, chaps, hopefully you can both hear me. First off, race 2, congratulations. P2, P3 for the team. Very, very good stuff indeed. Nick, just have a quick catch up. Just a quick chat with you first. I mean, strong performance today. Is Donington a track that you favour? It seemed to, because you really took to this really, like I said, really strong performances in both races.
Yeah, I'm alright once the tyres are warmed up. Like quali, I struggled with quali just to get a clean lap in. It's quite tricky on cold tyres, but once they're warmed up, I can find some pace then. And I managed to, obviously in the second race, catch the group in front in the end, with a little help from Roger maybe.
We noticed a little bit. Actually, it's actually on the screen now. Roger, again from yourself, obviously. I'm guessing that was obviously was that from a team perspective again. Obviously, making sure that you wanted to be able to say, get a strong position for the team rather than risk battling, because you had, Forgerini was very, very close. So was Armadio. I mean, that could have turned into a 4-way, 5-way battle really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't giving anything up to Nick for free, but I knew that these guys were really close, and my first race getting damage and the wing falling off, I just wanted to have a good finish. And I mean, Nick made his way by fair and square, right? And I was just trying to keep Loris behind me, to be on the podium. So it was good to end well.
Certainly so. And Nick, moving on down into next week, obviously. how does it look for you again going forward into next week?
What's next week? Is it?
I think Benny will have that information.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I should know, but I don't. I don't.
None of us know.
It's Charlotte Roval. Charlotte Roval.
I think it's Charlotte, isn't it? Charlotte Roval.
Endurance as well, so there's going to be some stop and goes now. That's anyone's, to be honest. You can mess up a stop and go so easily just by accidentally having your tyre still ticked or something like that. So when it comes to it, and there's going to be a fuel stop no, there might not be. I don't know how it's set up exactly, but yeah, that should be a good track as well. Really good to race on. That should be, carnage, I should say.
It's normally a track that suits the Skip Barber quite well, isn't it? It has just that enough toe, but you can break away if you want. So hopefully it'll be a good race for us.
It'll be good, that one. Yeah,
absolutely, indeed. Like I said again, it's something that I've not spoken to. Obviously, not spoken to everyone for a while. Like I said, best part of just over a year since I was last doing the broadcasting and commentating for this race. And again, it's fantastic. It's as good as I remember. And I'm really, really looking forward to next week. And hopefully, both Nick, Roger, I'm looking forward to being able to catch up with both myself and Benny. Obviously, Benny will be out on circuit hopefully next week. But I'm certainly going to be looking forward to catching up with you in the comms booth after the race. Anyone you would like to give a quick shout out to?
Roger, do you know?
Oh, I think all the guys we're racing with. It was a great job tonight. I think everybody was super clean. I'm just looking forward to getting Two Fools Racing back up on the podium next week.
Obviously, thanks to you guys as well, Benny, for setting up, and you for doing the broadcast as well. Looking forward to watching that back later.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Benny. So it's been a good start.
It's great this series. Yeah, it's good.
Cheers, guys. We'll hopefully our broadcast turned out well this time.
let's hope so. Hopefully I've done the right. Hopefully I've done well. But no. Again,
I remember it from last time. It was great. So I'm sure it's great. Yeah.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. No, really, really good chaps. Again, look forward to catching up with you both next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks a lot. Have a good evening, guys.
See you later.
You too, guys.
There we go. Nick Roberts, and that was Roger Hooker as well. I believe we've got Adam Miles and Chris Miles. Let's have a quick chat with them. I think we'll bring them in very, 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 very quickly. We'll have a quick catch up with both of the Miles. Gentlemen, hopefully you can hear me. First off, again, down into the second race. Obviously, Chris, P6 for yourself. Adam, P12. I would like to quickly just have a chat with Adam first off. Adam, certainly wasn't the start that you wanted to race to. What happened?
I made a classic racing driver mistake, which was to be so focused on the guy ahead, and when I think it was Loris Amadio, he ran wide at turn 1, and I just so fixated on his gearbox, I just took the exact same line he did and just ran out into the dirt. And just it looped around. I ended up taking Manu out with me, unfortunately.
And obviously, well, again, something you naturally, obviously, no one wants to do. But even so, Benny actually mentioned that you took a you actually took a fast repair as well. Now to still come back and to have that was a very, very impressive finish, P12. Again, obviously, it's difficult to be in that sort of situation, but I think overall pace seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, the pace was there in practice. It was there in qualifying, and obviously race 1, I only missed out by a tenth for the win. So I should have, I'm just kicking myself for what I did in race 2. The pace was there to get back through the field to at least along with Nick. I was following Nick in the early lap, so that's where I should have been by the end of the race, and I've only got myself to blame.
It's happened to everyone, and I think we've all been both sides of it, and it's certainly frustrating, I'd say this. So I think we all feel your pain there, but hopefully in a couple of weeks it will be better. Just moving on, Chris, actually just a quick conversation with you again. Obviously, very well done. Very well done for the P6, obviously in the second race. Just talk us through, I know the second race you started in P5, still managed to maintain with only a position loss. Just talk us through that this evening for you. How did it go?
Yeah, I was pretty happy actually. I mean, I didn't have too much practice, but I felt I was quite quick. But certainly the second race for me was just keeping out of trouble and letting the faster guys, Nick and Co, through, and just two clean races. And I think other than sort of one perhaps dodgy going into the last chicane on Joshua, I think it was sort of sending one at the end. I felt like it was two good clean races.
Good. And like I said, it certainly looked like it. Me and Benny were getting very excited towards the end of both races. Again, just fantastic. I was mentioning to Nick and Roger as well that not been with the series. Obviously last time the series was a year ago, and it's as good as I remember it being. It's just fantastic racing, really fair, really clean. And like I said, a couple of incidents, but at the end of the day, it's racing at the same time, and everyone moves forward. Just wrapping up, final things from both of yourselves. Adam, anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Yourself, obviously, for doing the broadcast. I've caught a couple of minutes already while I was sitting in the interview room. It all sounds great. Benny, obviously, for organising the league, and just an apology again to Manu. It's not the way I wanted to start the season, but hopefully I'll keep my nose clean around him for the rest of the season.
Good stuff, no reason. And Chris, same for yourself. Anyone wants to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, again, just same as Adam, really. You guys for doing the broadcast, and Benny for setting up the league, and also certainly Joshua for the two races. I think we're pretty evenly matched. So looking forward to the next few races.
Good stuff indeed. Well, we look forward to catching up with you both in a couple of weekends' time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See you guys.
There we go. Adam Miles and Chris Miles there in the commentary booth. So, yeah, there we go. Benny, round one done and dusted. And I think all in all, very, very good result. I'm very much looking forward to a couple of weeks, and hopefully we'll see you out on track, I think.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see if not sure about the next one, if it's the commentator booth or if it's the race, but we'll be out there for a few. So yeah, either one, I'll be part of it.
Good stuff indeed. Well, we're looking forward to obviously seeing you there. Again, big thank you to everyone that has been watching for this race. It's been absolutely fantastic. Everyone for the comments as well on the YouTube channel. Again, very much appreciated. If you haven't already, please do make sure you subscribe to the Absolute Sim Racing YouTube channel. We're so very close to 600 subscribers, so if you get us there, that would be absolutely fantastic. It's been really, really good fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and as I mentioned, it's great to be back with this series. We're looking forward to going next week. In 2 weeks' time, the same time starting. We'll be starting at 9 o'clock British Standard Time in 2 weeks' time. So do keep an eye out for that. And it will be at Charlotte Roval, a track that's not necessarily a track that is used all that much, but in a car like this, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. My name is Daniel Handover. Joining me in the commentary box has been the wonderful and fantastic Benny Simonson, and we look forward to catch up with you next week. As always, everyone, take care, stay safe.
Is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.